All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get ready to take another trip here back into the fog, starting off with some lower bracket action, starting with Sequence versus Astray. I pick going to be out on the Cenobite. We're going to be seeing Wispy, Zaphis, Kopi, and Julian out on the Survivor side for Astray. And I think one of my favorite parts of watching is the early game, seeing that box logic come into mind. And
Ooh. Are we gonna get started?
Oh,
okay.
You know what? I think it was. I guess was probably getting the aura reading probably from the box.
Yeah, could have been that. We're going to be starting off now. iPig heading towards the main building. Is that Kopi over there? He does find one survivor, but the question is, who is that immediately going to be? Okay, we do. He is going to vault. Do we hear the box? I think iPig is trying to find it. Sees that the spawn logic isn't going to be able to find it over here, though. That wastes a little bit more time, and Julian, in the meantime, will pick it up as well. iPig now going to resume the chase, and it is on Julian. Ooh, I was going to say misses the chain, but somehow does connect it. I think Julian still gets the balanced landing, however. He was trying to cut him off with that chain, like Q said, really smart, but Julian able to use the balanced landing now to get away towards Shaq, and iPig misses another chain, meaning that this chase is going to continue even longer, especially when he throws down that God pallet at 5 gens. The comp pallet is going to be thrown. Ace in the distance is going to be running away. iPig just looking to regress these generators as much as possible, keep this 3-gen up as late as possible, but Julian, in the meantime, who's gotten away, is going to start working on the box, cleanses it. iPig is also now going to start another chase onto another survivor, but look around, no injures, only 1 dropped pallet. iPig not in the best place.
Yeah, chat. Who had a comp pallet getting thrown at 5 gens? Chat, just asking. But yeah, this is actually a really good start here that we're seeing for our survivors, right? We saw the first survivor doing a really good job avoiding the hit. We are going to be seeing, though, of course, with that Eruption Gaming here, they're going to be going ahead and stopping the chase, getting that kick. That way they can try and get that additional regression with the down. We see now 2 different gens obviously have that applied, but you know, the application only matters if you're able to get the down. And thus far, the Astray survivors playing very safe, very, very good.
Yeah, iPig is definitely going to need to try and build up some more pressure here. We see 1 generator that he kicked earlier with Eruption is probably already being worked on. That 3-gen is probably very close to popping. Kopi is going to be taking this chase at the main building as well. I mean, iPig's just going to waste even more time. Even if he does get the down onto Kopi, iPig still has a lot of work to do. You can see on the gallows, the survivor is already working on that generator as well. iPig's 3-gen is almost gone, and Kopi doesn't show any signs of going down right now. Julian is going to be working on the box once again, so iPig isn't even going to be able to get any snowball pressure off of that. Kopi now running towards the street as well, so far from all the active generators, and we already have Astray popping one of those ones as well. Might have been in the 3-gen. I don't know. We didn't get a look over there yet.
Yeah, and you have to imagine, because of the fact that we've only gotten the 1 health state change, right? We got to be getting close to a 2nd, maybe even a 3rd gen popping. It doesn't
my God, and the body block
was over this. This is really good here for the survivors, because this chase almost looked like it was over, but now not so much. You will notice, though, that Wispy is going to be broken thanks to that forced penance there by our killer, but that's a big miss with the chain.
And he goes to the window?
That's...
Doesn't that waste a little bit more time when you already have the door broken? I think that was a little more time wasted. Another gen gets done. Kopi should be able to make this window as well. Maybe, maybe not. Ooh, I think the RNG on those chains was just a little unlucky, but iPig does get it. But honestly, I'm gonna call that up to the Russian ping difference.
Yeah, definitely gonna be feeling that ping on that hit. But even with that first hook here, 3 gens done, and they're gonna be able to solve the box 1 more time, which means now even longer. And so we're going to be seeing another chain hunt. Our survivors really doing a good job of applying a bunch of pressure here to iPig. The only problem, though, you have been able to find Wispy, and remember, Wispy is broken. Thanks to that forced pennant, should be able to slow him down enough to be able to avoid the actual window. Volt drops down, and that's going to be a down on Wispy.
Yeah, that's a huge down onto Wispy as well, because Kopi hasn't been healed yet. We talk about how Astray's in a good spot, but any snowball downs like this that iPic's getting, this could mean even more pressure. Kopi's also under the hook. Julian's going to take a hit, giving them that forced pin. It's iPic. If he gets it down onto Julian or onto Kopi, either one of them are great targets right here. iPic is going to have a hell of a time. Kopi's also going to be on the main building, which is strong, but iPic has gotten rid of most of the pressure out of it. So, yeah, Kopi's just going to have to leave. Zaf is also going to go for the hook, but iPic's not even going to take the chain onto them. Instead, tries to get onto Wispy, but I think misses, or maybe Zaphis took the pressure there because Wispy didn't get hit with the Mind, and I think that's exactly what iPic was trying to do, try to get rid of that BT, but Wispy gets away with the Sprint Burst anyway and doesn't take a Mind either.
Yeah, now you mentioned that snowball potential earlier, right? You look across the way, and that's 4 survivors all injured. Now you have someone who's working on the box as well. I don't think you can get over there with this chain. But it was right as the box gets solved, which means, again, no chain hunt. That might buy our survivors some time to potentially reset. This is going to be a 3rd hook, though.
Yeah, and this is 3 fresh hooks as well. Only 1 fresh hook on the map remains. Sequence has been able to bring the score back up a little bit here, but Astray still in a great position. Could definitely get some outs here unless iPic is able to capitalize on the fact that all 4 survivors are injured. Zaf is immediately going to be saved from the survivors as well. Wonderful time efficiency there, but Julian is in kind of a rough spot. iPic should be able to get it down here, and there's no body blocks that are going to be able to come through, meaning that, yep, even over this pallet, Julian is going to be downed. iPic's going to get another hook. Wispy's going to go for the reset. Zaphis is probably also going to be reset. I would assume that Wispy and Zaphis were the ones resetting, meaning Kopi, the only one who could be on a Jin, but honestly, if I was Astray right here, I would just go for the full reset, but I think with Julian going down right here, that's going to be the last fresh hook of the match. Everyone else is now going to be worth 2 points. But look at that, Sequence already at 12, Astray only at 6. This is definitely a big point discrepancy for Astray here. They're going to need to put some pressure back on these generators, especially because they just went for the reset on 2 of their players.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that we're not going towards the box. Zaphis is touching your box. That's not going to be able to apply any pressure here. I was going to say, as good as our survivors did early on in the game, applying pressure to our killer here, iPic's done a really good job of really thrusting that pressure back down onto our survivors here. And I would even say, since our survivors did a good job of knocking out that 3-gen on that cactus field side, you still have a decent gen set up, 3 straight in a line over here on this shop side of the map. Could work in iPic's advantage. The only problem, you need to start getting some more hooks here.
Julian gets found in there, but look, Julian gets found over here. No pallets to work with. Only had that one tried around for it, but iPic just went straight through it. Kopi, in the meantime, however, is going to get reset, and like you said, we still do have a semi-good gen structure here for iPic. If he's able to get a middle hook in between all these generators, I think he's going to go for it, but this is kind of a long hook to go for. If any bio block came through there, I think it would have been fine. I think Julian would have wiggled out there, so iPic is definitely risking a lot there going for that hook, but he does get it, and that's going to mean now he has a lot of pressure not only on his generators but on the survivors as well. Julian should die here if iPic is able to play well enough, but it seems like he's trying to go deep and get the eruption on this generator. I don't know if that's the right play because Julian, will immediately get saved because of that. Kopi has a little bit of pressure on them. Zaphis, I think, was also over there, but iPic really needs to get down onto Julian, and he's heading over there to try and confirm that, but Julian should have a lot to work with in this area. We also know Julian is the balanced landing user, so they're going to head up towards the gallows. iPic's immediately going to get a chain onto them, and they haven't dropped it just yet. Or, oh, nope, they did. They dropped silently. That's one of the also big buffs of balanced landing, not making a noise when you do drop. That's huge. Julian now is going to be able to make it to the main building because of that, because iPic didn't know whether or not he had dropped at the time, and so now we're going to have to go around the whole main building, and iPic can't commit to that. He knows he has to head back towards this gen. The survivors should be able to pop it over. We have 2 over here. That should be a lot of progress already gained onto this generator. iPic, really to apply pressure here is going to need it down, and taking this blast mine is going to waste even more of iPic's time. Wispy on the opposite side of the map should be on that water tower gen as well. iPic doesn't really have a lot of time to waste here. He needs it down, and he needs it now.
Oh, yes. Say it. Say it. Oh, he did the thing. Let's go. It was interesting to see Julian be the one to take the box. I was wondering if maybe that might have been your... Wait, is adrenaline allowed on?
I don't think adrenaline is allowed against the Cenobite, but you have to keep in mind that because that last gen just popped, iPick can really only go for Julian, and he has no way out, so the survivors should be able to split up on the other door and get 3 people out, meaning the best result, I think, for Astray is just taking the death onto Julian, and yep, they're opening the doors. I think they're going to go for it. Maybe even getting the hatch. I think that's what they were going for, but Julian just barely not able to make it over there. Only 3 people will get out, but still a great result for Astray there. I don't think we were expecting them to get 3 people out of the door.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think if you are in this situation, you take 3 all day, right? Especially because those 3 all had an additional stage, right? It's not just the one stage, it's multiple points you're gonna be able to get. Ties the score up here, it looks like, actually, right? If my math's not mistaken, 16-16?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well, 16-16 off that first set. That is so huge for Astray. They were coming to this set definitely on the back foot, definitely on a disadvantage against Sequence. So to be able to tie up this first set is so huge for them. I think Sequence honestly might be at risk of losing this set if Astray's
NA turning up. NA turning up? What?
It might happen. We might see NA take over the Russian scene here against Sequence, but that all remains to be answered after a short break.
All right. After seeing Astray able to get 6 stages out the door, it's going to be up to Julian to try and prevent Sequence from being able to duplicate or best that performance. Out on the survivor side, those going to be Swatter, Exeyes, iPick, and Seth, trying to see if they can get themselves a fresh stage out the door, along with a couple other stages as well. How are you feeling about Sequence right now here, Good Day?
Honestly, I think they're on the back foot. They could have the potential to lose this. Astray showed a very strong survivor game, so now all it comes down to is Julian's performance.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting here. I feel like Julian, that's going to be really important to the early, first couple chases, right? We saw last game they were able to get the chain hunt going, and we see even here this time Julian going to be able to find their box pretty well in an identical spot actually here to start things off. We're also looking at a rather similar build here, getting a little bit of extra help as far as in the back end. Also going to take some time here, it looks like, to go ahead and start breaking up this main building, at least a little bit, strengthen or lessen the strength, I should say, of this main building loop. And it looks like a little bit more friendly as far as gen spread, not so many on the shop side, which could work to Julian's advantage. But again, you need to find someone early and get a down, because we saw what Astray was able to do when you wait so long for your first hook, right?
Yeah, and also we see now, Sequence is going to be able to find that box first, meaning Julian is not going to be able to start off with that map pressure, but he's able to start off with a huge hit, actually. That's going to be so good for Julian, but is he able to capitalize it? He's in this street area with a lot of strong loops. He's going to try and follow Exeyes around, cut him off, but it doesn't seem like Exeyes is following down the street. He was actually, oh my god, was that what's it called, the one perk, the one with the silent scratch marks and whatnot? I forget, it used to be meta. I forget now.
Did you say the silent scratch marks?
Yeah, because they make you silent and no scratch marks, Yeah, all right, whatever. But one thing to keep in mind, even though Julian's able to get that first hook, that first gen will also pop for Sequence. So Astray is going to keep the lead for a little bit longer, but Sequence is going to be right on their tail.
Yeah, and you'll also notice that first gen that popped was over on that Gallows side, right? So you're already breaking up the 3 gen. That's, yeah, exactly. So that's normally so strong, already broken down here. What's going to be probably the next most important gen, I would probably say, is the one in front of the Gallows. But the problem right now is with where this hook is, a couple of gens aren't really going to be able to be worked on, including this one over here by the water tower, also including this other one closest to us that's up high. So unless you're pressuring these gens and maybe committing to try and slam them out, which honestly wouldn't be that bad of an idea if you can make sure you at least get 2 or 3 more for this hook stage.
Yeah, Julian's trying to get this second stage done immediately, but one thing that we have to keep in mind that Sequence did that was really good on their killer round was spread those fresh hooks. That could be the deciding factor, really, in this match, in who wins. Is it going to be Astray or Sequence? Is it going to be the fresh hooks, or is it going to be Julian's camping strategy here? He's able to get the second stage, but a lot of progress has been bought on these generators. He can be able to interrupt Swatter on it, but he doesn't go for him. He's not committing. I think he's going to head back towards the hook, trying to get this rescuer, but Swatter's going to be able to get that gen done now because of that, and Julian's going to commit to this as well, even though the save's already gone through. Seth, in the meantime, is also going to get on the box as well. So, Julian doesn't really have a lot of pressure here unless he's able to get it down onto Exeyes. He does get the mind off as well.
Oh, gets stunned stupid.
And I was going to say, I was gonna say he's gonna get the down two, but iPick comes in so clutch. Exi's now able to make it all the way over to Shaq. Swatter gets his gen done as well. Sequence is making a comeback here, and Exi should be able to make it all the way to main building now as well. This means that if Julian's not able to get the down in the next couple of seconds, that camping is gonna bite him and make him lose this match, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that's interesting is we haven't seen that third gen pop, right? Which it does have me a little worried. The good news is right now this chase is
lot of progress
taking
on this
a very,
one,
very long time. And yeah, there's a bunch of progress here. That thing's knocking like a Ford in the middle of the winter. I'll tell you what. We do see, though, about to have a body block come in. Not going to be able to get the blinds, however. But with that forced penance, like we saw last game, that is going to mean now that that survivor is not going to be able to heal here for like, was it 90 seconds still, right?
Yeah, 90 seconds on that forced penance. But another generator gets done. That one that we said a lot of progress. Two more actually get done. In the meantime, only one generator does remain here on the board, and we do get the down onto Excise. That will be the death, but Julian, he's gonna have to pick up on a pallet. We see a lot of people are around too. iPick's gonna take a hit, but you know, Swatter could be nearby. Seth could be upstairs. iPick is still somewhere around. Julian really can't pick up, but the more seconds he wastes, the more time on that last generator is gonna get done. Oh, and he also misses onto iPick. However, iPick still out of position, will take the down. Excise could get up in the meantime, however. Oh, there's the last generator! And we were talking about adrenaline previously. I guess it is allowed because Excise gets off the floor. Only 2 stages, and all the generators have been completed. Julian's gonna need an insane comeback to come back from this.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. He mistook who was the one that got hit with the adrenaline and turned around and swung and missed. That's a big, huge waste. I wouldn't say waste of time, but it's a big time waster because you weren't able to go right over for your pickup, right? You already see this door's at like 50-60% here. Looks like you are going to force the grab out of the locker. Means you aren't going to allow the slug here.
Excise could get out, though. I think you need the death onto Excise as soon as possible. iPick's also going to get picked up. If Swatter gets out the door, I think it's just a guaranteed win for Sequence here. We do get the fresh hook on to Seth here, but Astray is still in a very bad position. We need at least 2 more downs here.
Yeah, and we have at least that door over there, which makes you think you have all 3.
This one's already done.
Here, and there it is, 1, 2. Swatter also waiting there as well. One of those being fresh. It's only going to be 5 stages here as far as for the side of Julian. Sequence really flexing here.
Yeah, this was such a good comeback from Sequence here. We were saying that they had the potential to lose, and Julian started this off strong with the chases onto Excise, but that one head-on is really, I think, what decided this first set and gave the win to Sequence here on the pinhead. That head-on from iPick was literally the most clutch thing, I think, because Excise going down at the street near the water tower would have meant that Julian had a death at 3 generators. Because of that head-on, they were able to extend the chase and get 3 generators done before the next hook came out. That was so huge and so game-changing for Sequence here.
Yeah, and I think that really shows when you have teams that are like very closely matched like this, how much one play can really make a difference at this level, right? Especially when you look at the scoreboard. 10-point difference sounds big, but it really did come down to just a play or two. But, you know, now here, how are you feeling about the Artist if you're Astray?
You know, it could go either way. I think on the Artist, you know, Sequence does have a lot of good killers. I think Artist is also one that they've played a lot, so that is definitely going to be a factor. Astray is confident, I think, on the Artist as well, but it's really, like I said before in the campfire chat, gonna come down to these survivor rosters. It honestly, like looking back over here, if Astray is able to try and make a comeback here on the Artist, I think Sequence still has a lot of advantage in this Doctor set. So really, Astray's going to need to keep a good mental knowing that, because Cenobite is really the game that they needed to win, and they showed a very strong start. It's just their killer game wasn't able to make up for the survivor game, so now they're gonna have to come back out again on the killer, on the Artist, keep a good mental, and try to win these next 2 sets and make this upset happen, because that first match really showed how strong Astray is and how they do deserve a spot in DBDLeague.
Well, will Sequence be able to wrap things up in 2, or will Astray be able to bounce back here on that Artist set? We're going to find out right after a quick break. All right, we saw set number 1 go in favor of Sequence. Now it's going to be up to Astray to try and bounce back In set number 2, we are going to be seeing Volga out here on the killer side for Sequence, Wispy, Zathis, Kopi, Julian out for Astray. Really needing to set the tone on the survivor side here as well. You got to make sure these first couple of chases really get prolonged. You got to allow your team to dig in, because we know that Volga is one of those types of killers that's got a diverse killer pool, a name that we've seen in the competitive scene for a region. You do not want to give him an inch, otherwise he's going to take a mile.
Yep, and we see the survivors now just trying to spread out. Wreckers is a really hard map to try and win in these chases against the Artist. Volga also going to be able to find Kopi out immediately. However, he hops in a locker to get rid of those crows. Volga now immediately going to place down another crow, and this should force Kopi to at least take the birds, but Volga's also going to put one about the pallet. Kopi has to leave this tile. There's no way for him to really stay, and yep, he does now head towards the center, but Volga still has the opportunity to play around with his birds. Does he shoot him? No! Just in the nick of time, Kopi goes for the vault, and Volga doesn't get the crow. I believe Kopi also going to use some lithe to get away there, but Wispy instead now going to be the one taking the birds next. Volga going to be immediately on their back. Wispy was working on Gen previously, so now interrupting that as well. Ooh, but Wispy hops in a locker once again to get rid of those crows. Volga is going to need to try and get an injury as fast as possible, and should be able to get one at this loop, since Wispy doesn't have a lot else to work with. They will run around the back of this tractor, but Volga going to put a crow down at the front and break the pallet, and that means that Wispy now has to play around this window, but Volga knows that they could put a crow down, but they don't do it just yet. They're going to try and just play for the regular injure, but Wispy drops down in the face of Volga. Volga tries to go for the bird, but the M1 just will go through. That's the greatest, I think, result you could get from Wispy there, since they did commit to that vault. Volga could have gotten a 2-tap there. I think that's why Q was going to gasp.
Yeah, and this is big here, because still this first chase getting prolonged. We can see that the corrupt intervention here getting ready to expire shortly, which means we're approaching up on that 90-second mark. Yo, feel the ping, my friend. That's going to be down through the pallet, and that's going to be our first down before a gen gets popped here. Granted, it was pretty close to that 90 seconds, so that means we might have 2, maybe even 3 gens being very close to popping, which means Volga's got to move with some swiftness once you get this hook.
Yeah, we do get that first hook, like you're saying, though, and honestly, Volga getting the ping resonance as well, he might honestly just be in a good position, but Julian's going to continue working on that generator. Kopi almost got interrupted, but still also on their generator as well. The save's going to come through. Zaphis now going to be the one in chase. You know, 1 or 2 gens might pop here, but Volga able to interrupt the one that Wispy was on, and now interrupting the one that Zaphis is on. You know, like you just said, a lot of pressure, a lot of good pressure. Volga honestly might make a comeback. Zaphis also has to use this tractor as well. He'll get the balance landing, but he gets the crows as well, and Volga should be able to track him because of that. Does he land this next shot? No, just barely. Will be able to get away, and now makes it all the way to Shaq. Volga had some good pressure, but now in this chase with Zaphis might lose it all, since Wispy did just get reset.
Yeah, we are going to see, though, going to be able to avoid the crows this time around. We are at the TNL. Of course, the TNL not very strong against an Artist here, but just going to now hold that shift W here back to the corner. Going to go ahead and hold those crows for just a second here. Going to try and play a little bit at the window, but now here you're going to make that a very easy shot there as far as with the swarm. And Zaphis now going to be going up on a hook. We see a second gen popping. The question becomes, how close is generator number 3?
Well, we saw Zaphis's. It had a lot of pressure, and we know that Volga hasn't been able to get another hook. This might be pain resonance, but like I said, he's not able to make it in time. That had a lot of pressure, so another gen will be popping. However, that means that all the other generators should have little to none. We see Julian running around, Kopi starting on another one, Wispy probably setting up for the save, and Zaphis is going to be sitting on that hook for a little bit longer. Volga now has a lot of pressure on the center of this map as well. A lot of the pallets in this area have been used, and only this one really next to Volga is the only one remaining. We do see scratch marks near Volga, but Volga's not going to be able to find that person. Instead finds Kopi and is able to get the injure as well. A great snap from across the map, but now finds Wispy trying to go in for the save. Could be another person nearby. Volga has to be careful about this. However, so do the survivors. If they go in and get this save hastily, Volga's going to be able to get another down, and that should be basement as well. And with so much pressure on the center, Volga has a good opportunity to just camp out this area and camp out another survivor who goes in for the save. A lot of points to be earned here from Volga, but the question is, will the survivors be able to capitalize on the camping that Volga's doing right now and get these generators done, since there's only 2 remaining?
The homie Kopi is going through it, man. Got hit with the one set of birds, got delayed by another set of birds, working on that gen. Gets delayed by another set of birds here now. And you'll notice here still too, no one no one's able to move in here yet. We keep seeing
Yeah.
this survivor kind of like trickling their way in just a little bit. I believe it's Wispy here, but yeah, if that's the case, you gotta hope that Julian is sitting on a generator, at least getting that one done. Because you had mentioned we know Kopi's is getting close, even though we've seen a little bit of a delay. That's going to be the save coming in, able to at least make sure it's a trade though.
Yeah, Volga's not going to go for the tunnel onto Zaphis either. I think that's a smart play. Instead, going for the Crow. The question is, do you go for basement here, or you just hook that hook again? I think, yep, I think Volga's making the correct play because that also is Pain Resonance. You're just going to get the guaranteed 2 points there, and that area is basically just a mini shack now because there's so many dead zones near it. Volga, however, knowing that no survivors really nearby and Zaphis can't go in for the save, is going to go over to Kopi, but Julian knows that as well, so he's going to take advantage of the situation and immediately get a save back onto Wispy. Kopi has to take the chase deeper into middle now, though. Volga is going to be able to play around with the Crows because of that. Does he land this shot? No, he's not going to go for it just yet. He sets up one, though, and it gets the snipe onto the back of Kopi. Wispy, in the meantime, going to get reset. Zaphis probably also getting reset or working on another generator. Volga has to take the time to go all the way back to this hook to get that Pain Resonance, but the question is the gen pressure too great for this Pain Resonance really to matter? Zaphis might be on one of these gens and have a lot of pressure, but you have to keep in mind that Kopi was working on a generator as well, so a lot of generator progress should be made here. The question is, are the survivors going to be able to capitalize on it, or is Volga gonna be able to get downs fast enough for it to not matter? Zaphis is able to avoid the down for a couple more seconds, but Kopi is also going to be saved, meaning Volga is very much on the back foot right here.
Yeah, right now we see our survivors again from Astray doing a very good job putting up a good fight. You only need one more gen here to be able to start powering these doors. You've got some people who are injured here as well, including Zaphis, who you're currently chasing, but there is going to be the last gen that does pop you, and that's going to be it there. That's going to be them trying to go towards these doors. This is going to be... Oh, no, not going to be a basement hook. Smart. You want to try and get pressure on these doors a little bit quicker, but
that's
the
going to be the death as well.
Oh, I forgot that was a death. That's a good call. If they're on this door, they get out, but if not, I mean, you get a couple more hooks.
You get the Crows, and it's onto Kopi. You have the shotgun set up right now. Does he land it? That's the question. He does. He gets the down onto Kopi. That's going to be huge. Is he able to find Julian now? We see scratch marks. I think those are Kopi, so he's trying to go for the pickup, a little bit too impatient there, and he does waste a couple seconds because of that. And now the 2 survivors should be able to make it all the way across the lap, but Kopi went for a DC. That's going to be a -2 for Astray for going for the DC, and that's going to reward the full points for Kopi as well. So that is going to be a huge swing of points into Astray's favor because of that DC. Or not into Astray's favor, into Sequence's favor,
Sequence's favor. That's unfortunate there to see there at the end. I mean, it's one thing to give up those couple of hook stages, but then to award more points over. That makes it very tough here. Remember, Astray did drop set number 1. Now you hand over those additional points here, and that's going to make whoever's coming out here on the Artist going to make their job very, very hard.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be the setup that you really want in this situation. So I don't know. I don't know if Astray is going to be able to make the comeback. We'll gather up these points here since we are going to have to calculate, thanks to that DC, what exactly the point score is. But when we come back, we'll have that complete score for you. But keep in mind that we know that Sequence is an advantage, and it should be at least a 7-point advantage. So honestly, again, not looking good for Astray. They're going to need to make a comeback even after a -2 here. So it's going to be very, very hard to see whether or not that's going to be possible, but we'll see after a short break.
All right, let's go ahead and take ourselves another trip back into the fog. Game number 4 here between Sequence and Astray. Going to be seeing Julian coming out here on the Artist. Tough task, especially with the extra penalty there as well. Swatter Eyes, iPick, and Seth going to try and close out the series here for Sequence. And, you know, again, I feel like it's such a tall ask to put on your killer, especially with your backs against the wall, right?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard. Julian is going to be at a 7-point disadvantage thanks to that -2, and not that big, honestly. It's only 1 more kill that you'd have to get for Julian than you got previously onto the Survivor team for Astray. but it would have been even less. It would have only been 2 hooks extra that you'd have to get onto a person if that -2 didn't come into effect here for Julian. So a very big point swing for Sequence, and against Astray here, Julian's gonna have to make up for it. We see the survivors spreading out. He hasn't started a chase just yet, but you know, if anyone can do it, if anyone can get a 3K on the Records Yard, Artist can. She's a very strong killer, has a lot of utility, but the survivors are showing how good they are at spreading out already, and Julian is going to have to try and play out of his mind if he wants to get a 3K against the team of Sequence.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier about how we hadn't started any chases yet, and I don't know if being this far into the trial, if I'd want to be taking a chase in my corrupted gens. You know, I feel like we've already allowed potentially a little bit of work into the generators itself, but at the same time, you got to get, you know, whatever downs the survivors are going to take you at the same time. You are going to be able to...
Ooh.
I
he barely
thought
missed
that was, oh man, that was so big
that.
because he did a good job trying to put his body in the pallet space, but oh man, that's a heartbreaker too, because now this chase goes even longer. We're really starting to approach that 90-second marker, which means we could potentially be seeing our first gens popping pretty soon.
Yeah, this is definitely not going to be the position that Julian wants to be in. He's now at the fun bus as well. He should be able to play around it, but he has to wait for his recharge, and iPick runs into him. However, that's going to waste a couple more, or gain a couple more seconds for him. Eruption goes off in the distance, doesn't hit anybody. However, Julian needs this hook, and he needs it now. No pain resonance really to speak of, so he's not going to interrupt one of these generators. He's going to... Oh, wait, no, never mind. He does have pain resonance, but that hook wasn't pain resonance. Oh... That's going to be so unfortunate for Julian here. He's going to try and interrupt a gen across the map. Doesn't hit anybody, however. Julian now going to check on the other ones as well. However, he does find 2 people in the middle. He can't go for them really right now. I think they were trying to just hide around and go for the save, maybe try and interrupt, maybe get off the gen to make sure that the crows didn't hit them, but Julian was up on the hill, so that didn't really matter. But now Xi is going to be just boldly staying on the generator. Julian going to send another crow. He needs this crow to hit and interrupt this gen as fast as possible. iPick does get saved in the meantime. A lot of time wasted, and another, I think another gen is going to be on its way pretty soon.
Yeah, you have to imagine we got another gen getting relatively close. Now, we are going to be seeing that iPick here does have that decisive strike, which could be very, very crucial. If this down comes in and you go for the concurrent pickup, there's going to be the down. This is your moment here to be able to do what you need to do, and she slaps him with the D.
That's going to be another generator gets done. 2 more are going to start. They're both at 40%. iPick's going to get hit with the crows. Julian's on his back, but a body block should be nearby as well.
And that's going to buy you a little bit more time, but you do have 2 people now who have, well, one now only does have the crows here. One was able to get rid of them quickly, but man, only 1 hook thus far. You got to be able to finish this chase. It looked like we got a, I don't know if that was an eruption sound, or yeah, it was eruption notification across the way. I don't know if we happen to get any screams though, but man, you got to imagine, you mentioned earlier, that 3rd gen has to be getting dangerously close.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something that Julian's going to have to be worried about. Only getting his 2nd hook right now is definitely not what he needs. Only going to get another 2, or sorry, that is a fresh hook actually. I was going to say another 2 points, but no, Seth is going to be another fresh hook, which is what you need right now, but you really need to confirm kills as well. I think going for iPick would have been the best play, but like we saw, he got slapped with the D, and so he wasn't able to really capitalize on that. iPick, however, is going to be the next one found. If Julian lands this, this will be huge, but no, misses the hit on to iPick, so now iPick's just going to get rid of those crows, and Julian doesn't have a lot to work with, not a lot of information, not a lot of pressure, not a lot of people in chase. Swatter is going to take this time to work on a generator, and Excise is going to come in for the save as well. iPick, we also saw start on a gen, and Julian isn't anywhere nearby to even pressure this on hook either.
Yeah, this is tough. You talked about it earlier. You need to start acquiring those eliminations here at this point, or at least getting people close. The 2 fresh hooks are nice on the scoreboard. We know that, you know, they're able to at least be able to apply it and just a little bit extra points that way, but you're only sitting on 2 hooks.
Ooh,
I am though asking a question as far as where's the 3rd gen, because you and I have been talking about it for quite some time, and we haven't seen it, but we do see a nice snipe across the way. That's going to help apply a little bit more pressure. You have another survivor that's back here as well. It's injured. could be potential, a little bit of snowball potential. We're gonna have to see here.
Yeah, but we were talking about that third gen, and in the meantime, it did pop. Sequence gets another one out of the way. I believe that was the one that Swatter was working on. iPick also started one and hasn't been interrupted yet, as far as I know. So Julian should be very worried right now. iPick should be close to finishing another gen. He's in the chase with X-Ice, who's going to be a fresh hook as well. Doesn't have anyone on Death Hook. Doesn't have any in-game perks either. So Julian needs this down, and then he needs it down onto Seth, and then down onto iPick, and he needs all of them to die, essentially. And X-Ice is just going to go into the comp corner, and that should ensure that Sequence gets another gen, if not two.
Yeah, it's definitely trying to waste as much time as possible. You can't help but wonder, though,
There's another
did
gen?
that maybe help in the fact that this hook is potentially a scourge hook? 4th gen, though, does
Yeah, that is
pop
one.
off in the way. This is, though, another fresh hook, which means even more so time for Sequence, if they wanted to slam this last gen out.
Yeah, and it seems like they're all going to go head back towards the corner of the map. iPick and Seth to get that reset. Swatter going to sneak around, trying to get the save. Julian still with no idea where anybody is. He is nearby the reset, but he doesn't know exactly where they are. He has to check on this generator, and he does get it kicked with Call of Run and Eruption, but Julian's not going to have any way of pressuring that generator since he needs to go for X-Eyes right now, and if he doesn't, Swatter's just going to go for the reset onto them. Julian, however, does hear the survivors back here, is going to be able to interrupt 2 of them. That's 2 survivors who are now going to be in chase, but both of them really aren't your biggest targets. X-Eyes is really who you need to tunnel out, but he's already been reset, so now really you're going to try and make the best of any situation. You need either iPick, Seth, or X-Eyes. All of them are decent targets, but not who you really wanted to go for. If you could have gone for X-Eyes, that's who you wanted. iPick will take the injure, but he also has a lot to work with back here in this back corner. Julian knows that, so he's going to try and just slow down these generators as much as possible. Might return back to iPick when he's a little bit more out of position. However, we do know, and thanks to that near miss, that someone's on that back generator. Julian needs it down right now. Seth dropping this pallet immediately just to buy some time, runs to the fun bus as well. Julian can't play around that. He has to go back to these generators, and he's not going to be able to even connect a bird onto that back generator. That could be the completion coming through fast, but a missed skill check. That means that that gen won't get done just yet, and Swatter's going to get interrupted by the birds now. Julian buying himself a little bit more time, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's really tough here too, right? Because it was like you needed to get it down, and you come back over here, you've got some pressure back here, but it's all healthy survivors. You even see across the way, iPick now also getting reset, which means that these chases are going to naturally take a little bit longer, and time not on your side. Even if you land this Birds of Torment over here and you get the shotgun shot, it is going to give the Atom a speed boost. No, actually going to be able to repel the birds in time. You're now far away from these gens. I think we're going to be seeing this 5th gen pop here any moment.
Yeah, Swatter is also going to be able now to make the distance away back towards Funbus. We've seen it again and again. Julian really can't complete with this. I think he should have broken it way earlier in the match, because now the survivors have just been abusing it over and over again, and Julian knows that he can't chase up here because they just have so many angles to hide on. iPick going to take the crows, but he's left early. That way he didn't spread them over to his other survivor work on that generator. Julian's going to be able to pressure iPick now, but since he's healthy, he doesn't really get anything out of this, and iPick also is allowing him to miss there. Gets the vault as well. That's going to get live by a couple more seconds. That was a huge miss from Julian there. iPick buying at least 5 more seconds. That means that Swatter is going to get 5 seconds of distance to get away, and 5 seconds to work on that generator. It gets interrupted at the last second, but it's not enough, and that last gen will go because of that. Swatter gets down across the map. That's going to mean that still Julian has a chance here to get a win. Swatter is a fresh hook. The survivors might come back for him, but they don't really have a need to. However, Julian's also going to get a hook in between both of the gates, so they might be forced to.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You need to be able to at least get over and put a little bit of pressure on this door. But if somebody was on there from the word go, that thing's just going to be about ready to go. We know somebody's on it now. That did not connect, which means it's more time that they're able to stick
the door gets open too? Oh, no.
Oh.
Two people out the door. Here? If 2 people got out the door, it's already over. So yeah, Julian has accepted his defeat, not able to land that final shot. iPick is going to go down, but he's in the door, so he'll just crawl out. Seth is also just going to be there. Swatter, in the meantime, also just saved. This might be a 4-man out. Julian is just going to take the hits and the outs onto both of these.
Now the question is, do they have enough time to open up the door on the opposite side? I would imagine they do. I don't think it really matters as far as on the results side, but still, you'd love to see these teams making sure they fight until the very end. If this is X-Eyes getting out the door, though, that means that the hatch would still be available, or the other door might be open. Regardless, though, X-Eyes isn't going to be able to get down, which means we're probably going to be seeing the 4 out. There's the 3, there's the 4, and man, what a performance there from the side of Sequence.
Yeah, that was an insane result there from Sequence to get everyone out of the door. The full points for all these, or sorry, not the full points, but partial points for each of those escapes. There were at least, everybody was at least fresh hook there, so a lot of points out that door. Just a very, very good result there from a Sequence.
And, you know, it looked for a second, I thought Astray was going to be able to put up a fight and we might be able to see 3, even though you and I were both kind of questioning that early on. But Sequence really proving why their name has the legacy behind it, right?
Yeah, and with this final score right now of 37-24, Astray had a lot of fight here in this matchup, but it just wasn't enough. They did a very, very great showing, but we'll have to move on. Astray is kicked from the Winter Circuit. Sequence will move on to round 3 of the losers bracket, and next up we will have YoBoy versus